All right. Hey, listeners. Welcome back to yet another episode of Cables, Coffee, and Curveballs. Did I get that right again?
You did.
I did.
You're a professional now.
I'm a professional. I'll forget by tomorrow morning.
Day 2 and 6 episodes in, you finally nailed the open,
Yeah,
Georgie.
no promises for tomorrow, though. So we have with us today, and I'm not going to do what I've done every other time, is introduce you guys and then tell you to introduce yourselves again. So I will just ask you, our special guest today, to introduce themselves.
I'm Steve Greenblatt. My company is Control Concepts, and we are one of the co-hosts of Ask the Programmer and also host of the State of Control podcast.
All right.
Awesome.
James King here, and I'm co-host with Steve on Ask the Programmer, crew member on AV Life, HEPMA, work for UNLV School of Med for my day job. Again, Google me, you'll find me.
And you're a East Coast transplant.
Yes, I moved from New Jersey to Vegas.
New Jersey to Vegas. All right.
Wow. Fellow Met fan, I hear.
Yes.
I was just going to get
George,
to that.
Sorry. I jumped the gun.
Fellow Met, fellow BaldAV guy. I mean, we have so much in common. How come we never met before?
I don't know, but you got to grow the beard.
You got the beard like our logo, like Sweet Lou.
The problem with the beard for
Shout
me
out Sweet Lou.
The problem for the beard for me is my beard curls. So when I had hair, I would curl too. So no matter how long I grew it out, it was always right. So my beard is the same thing. It's just it stops right there.
Yeah.
This has now completely gone off the rails.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's okay. Curveballs, man. I love
it. Steve, let's start with you, yeah? Show floor. What has been your favorite part so far?
What everybody's basically talking about is how products can work together, how you can find more interoperability. I think that there's a lot more collaboration, so it's not about the technology, it's more about what you can do with it.
Right.
Collaboration. That was our buzzword during our presentation today, right, Georgie?
Absolutely. We said, what was the other one? Collaboration and communication.
Communication.
Yep. That was,
What were you saying? Metacognition or something?
Metacognition. Word of the day, folks.
Word of the day.
Metacognition.
Word of the day.
But no, everything that's happening in education today, we feel the collaboration and the communication is the absolute most important for what's coming next, which, sure, let's use the buzzword metaverse or whatever you want to call it, XR, VR. Now, you guys are hosts of the show.
Ask the Programmer.
Ask the Programmer. I was going to say interview the programmer. Sorry. Ask the Programmer. So you guys are really into the programming aspect of AV, right?
Correct.
So what would your recommendation? So our AV degree program that we've started is on a very base level. It's more technical as far as the hardware is concerned, basic line drawings, ins and outs, as we called it a lifetime ago. Of course, now everything's over Cat 6, so is there really in and out? I don't know.
Yeah.
So what would your recommendation be to us from how to get started into the programming for the students?
I would say give them the tools to start tinkering. It's great to install the equipment, wire it all up, but if you can't make it work, you actually achieve the fruit of your labor.
Right.
I think right now we're looking at programming used to be more of like a full stack approach. You did everything from beginning to end.
Right.
But I think we're building more specialties now.
Right.
So UI, user interface, that's a specialty. User experience. And now you're talking about how do I integrate an API? How do I build functionality? These are all these specialties.
Right.
But of course you have to know how a whole system works.
Right.
So, and writing the code is just about learning a language.
Right.
But it's about understanding how the users are going to use it. And I think you have to have a big picture. The programmer has to have a lot of disciplines and know a lot about everything and know a little about a lot of parts because they have to be able to troubleshoot and be able to say that it's because the programming is always what's the first thing that people look at as being what the problem is.
Right. So I'm assuming you guys are both programmers, right? Let's.
I don't know. I don't.
At
program.
one point. At one point. Let's address the elephant in the room. Yeah. AI. What are your thoughts?
So, first off, you got to truly define what AI is, because there's so many terminology and so use cases for AI. But kind of if you boil it down to it, the way I look at it, it's just very, very, very well done programming.
To be able to write its own program.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, evidently there's a lot of. I mean, the biggest thing with the AI stuff, like ChatGPT, is the fact checking stuff, right? That we're seeing. Like, people. I saw something the other day. Was it a lawyer got in trouble for something for citing a bunch of the content he pulled was fine, but all the reference cases he pulled were like not real things or like not. Yeah, so like there's a lot of gray area still with that. I think that scares me, and I think scares George a little bit too.
Terrifies me. Rise of the Machines, I think, is real.
Not saying we don't use it, but you know,
It's a great tool.
yeah.
But that's the thing. It's a tool.
So,
Go ahead.
I think James has got it. You know, it's something that we have to look at. It's not going to go away, and we have to figure out how to use it for good.
Right. So, AI, machine learning, all these stuff. Where do you think it fits into AV today and tomorrow?
See? We've been trying to do stuff like this for a long time. Everybody wants to walk into a room and then it does everything for you.
Right.
I think that it'd be important to understand how to customize it actually for the person walking into the room, not necessarily generalizing that the person walking into the room is going to want the same thing.
Right.
So that's where I see AI and machine learning being very valuable in our space.
So, where I see AI being a good tool, but my thing is what we gotta remind ourselves about is what if it doesn't work? Do you have the knowledge to know it's not working and to fix it?
Troubleshoot, yeah.
So that's the problem. We're relying too much on the AI. Like I've had that conversation with manufacturers. It's like, oh, you hit a button and it works. I'm like, great. What if it doesn't work? Well, what do you mean? What if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
They couldn't answer.
Yeah. Well, we saw, speaking of AI, I mean, we saw a good demo. Was it yesterday, George? The Hudley demo?
Yes.
So just speaking of it, we saw a demo yesterday of the cameras that they're pushing right now. I know other companies are doing it, but that's the one that's coming to mind right now because it's fresh in my head. With the 3 camera setup that can extend out, I think he said 8, 6, 8, 6?
8, I think he said.
And it's not just your traditional speaker tracking, but it's literally using AI to pick up on the room, and it picks up on cues of the people listening around the conference table and kind of takes a shot of them, goes back to the speaker. The concept is really freaking cool. It definitely, in general, no knock on Hudley. It's still something that it needs some work, but the concept of it is really cool. When the demo they showed us was well done.
And AI has really been around AV for a long time, right? We've been building management systems and saying, I want to walk into a room, and if 15 minutes into the class, the nobody's in the room, shut down the system, shut down the HVAC, or turn down 20% of the lights, or whatever it is. Here's my question. Me, as a designer, how do I sell this to facilities that we need to work together? Because this is a message I cannot seem to get over to our facilities folks. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that's having this battle.
So, funny enough, is in my session today, someone brought up how to work with facilities. My answer straight out was, one, buy your facility manager a beer or a coffee. Sit down, have a conversation. Especially in higher education, is our goal is to educate the students. No matter who's at that university, their job is to educate the students, one way or another. Even the president of the university, that's their job. Janitors of the school, that's their job, to educate the students, one way or another. So everyone get on the same page that that's their goal and they understand that, then the partnership works. Back on the East Coast, I had it where my facility team, if I need a display in a room, all I had to do was go to the facility team and go, hey, I need a display in room 1. They knew how high, where to put it, center of the room, knowing the electric needed to be there, knowing the data ring needed to be there, pull strength, everything. So
nice.
Had that relationship. It wasn't an overnight relationship. And then we were like, all right, put the mount on, TV on, we're done.
Right. So that's a wonderful relationship, and it's a tough one to get to that point, especially when you have turnover in a department constantly. We used to be at that point at one point in time. Now I'm that way with one of the campuses, but the other campus is very different. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough. And we're a multi-campus institution, so it's much harder because we work with different areas. Even though my area is more centralized facilities, you're working with different areas, you're working with different peoples, you have different roles. Things are done differently in one campus to the other.
Lots of silos.
Lots of silos, and it's much harder.
We need to break those silos.
We do. George and I talk about this all the time because I work in the College of Arts and Sciences specifically, whereas George is in Central IT. But George and I work together on things constantly just because that's the natural basis of our jobs. But so tired of silos.
Yeah,
in
and we'd
higher
rather
ed.
spend time with each other than other people in university.
Well.
So, kind of a good suggestion in there is get someone who can speak facilities on your team. I was very lucky my coworker could do that. He was the type of person where I'd be like, hey, we need to mount something or calculate this lens distance, or that was skills I didn't need to focus on because he knew the language, he knew how to handle it, and he could talk to the facility in their language.
That's a great point.
Just like I could talk IT to the network guys. It's getting that language.
Yeah. I think Joe. I feel like Joe. When we spoke with Joe on the podcast, he mentioned something like that at USC, where he was able to kind of build his team. He made like a list, right, George? I remember a list of like all the different skill sets he wanted, and like as he was looking through resumes, he was like checking things off. And if like you hit like 5 or 6 of them, it was like, okay, cool, this works. So what you're saying, James, actually that's a really like somebody that can talk facilities, but also has that obviously that little bit of tech knowledge, but can speak to them just. Grab it, even like you said, grab a cup of coffee. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a Zoom meeting. Like go out to Starbucks and sit down for an hour and actually just chat. Sometimes that does wonders, right?
Steve, let me ask you the question from a vendor standpoint, right? You're with Control Concepts, you mentioned. So I'm sure you work with corporate, you work with education, with higher ed. What would you say, in your opinion, is the biggest difference between higher ed and corporate?
So higher ed, I think, at least I feel, is a lot more approachable, and they're a lot more cooperative and collaborative.
Okay.
And I think that there's a lot, we all seem to be trying to go for the same goal, whereas I think corporate, there's a little bit more friction, there's a little less investment in what we're doing.
Right.
I feel like there are bigger barriers to overcome.
Right.
A little more cutthroat, right?
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
There's money on the line.
Yeah,
Right.
of course.
Right.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was going to get. I was like, the money factor is it more, who's more annoying? Let's call it out as
Well,
it
there's
is.
a lot more
Keep in mind, we have 3 academia people here.
There's a lot more pressure in the corporate world.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I love working with education institutions.
Right.
And for what we do, one of the things that we try to specialize on is standardization and providing a consistent user experience, no matter what the system is. So.
Right. And do you think it's easier to instill the standard-based stuff in academia, or is corporate understand it better, or is corporate like, we don't care, just give us whatever works?
If you can show them return on investment, corporate will go for it. Academic institutions are more
Siloed.
looking at it from a service standpoint.
Right.
We have to own this, so what's going to make our lives easier?
Yeah.
From both of your perspectives, this is a question we like to ask because we like to get honest feedback. So George and I we're trying to build an academic program at Pace. We teach the courses. We've already run one this past semester. It's becoming a minor within the next couple of months, I'd say. Our end goal is for it to become a major. What would your advice from the world you've come from, the world you're currently in, be to us as we are starting to build this type of academic program and formalizing training that we've all kind of, either taken or, as George always says, stumbled into, right, into this industry?
Don't overlook the importance of control and programming, because quite honestly, if you look at the CTS, I have a CTS, I firmly believe in it, but there's 2 pages in the CTS manual on control in the whole manual. Right. So I just think what we do has never been given the attention that it deserves, and quite honestly, I've been in the industry almost 30 years. It started off where using a computer was just specialty to now everything is computer based and everything is programmable and everything requires somebody who knows how to program.
Yeah.
So I think what you guys are doing at PS is amazing, and it's much needed. But I'm going to take a little stab at it and say it's too late. My understanding is by the time most students go to college, they already decided what they wanted to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, yes, you do have people who change
Undecided,
majors.
yep.
All that
It's
stuff.
a smaller pool, but
Yeah. We need to hit them younger. We need to, like, research shows, I was actually under the impression, research shows that girls especially make up their mind on what they're going to do at the age in 6th grade. I've actually heard at
Wow.
3rd grade now.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
My daughter's going into 3rd grade.
Yeah,
Oh
they
boy.
start picking their career path. So
Maybe it is.
we need to,
Hey, she is tech savvy. I'm on board for that.
That's great, and that's where we need to hit them. We need to hit them young, and we all know. I mean, you look at IT with the Intel's all over the TV, Apple's all over TV, Bose is all over TV, Beat, you name it, it's all over TV. You don't see any AV.
yeah.
No one knows it. Where my kids know AV from, the show Stranger Things. The AV.
What a great show,
Yeah.
by the way.
It
Yeah,
is.
great show.
Actually, Dustin's from my hometown.
Is that right?
Nice.
Also, while we're talking about that, is just there, when you watch Stranger Things, is there a warm and toasty feeling about the 80s that you're like, man, those are some good times?
Yeah, it seems that.
George, are you talking about the fact that you're over 40 and
here
I'm
we
under
go.
40?
Here we go.
So I
I
have to get that
knew
on
he'd
every
figure out
episode.
a way to
If I
work
don't get that
that
on every
in.
episode, it's not an episode.
I just knew he was going to get
I have
that in
11
there.
more months to use that, so I got to use it.
I tell you what, though, you have more injuries of a 40-plus-year-old
You're
than I
right.
do.
He's right. He's right. I'm coming off a torn Achilles.
He's
yeah.
coming off with 3 surgeries, and
3.
I have
Well,
let me not finish that
Yeah,
sentence.
yeah. Don't jinx yourself.
Let me not finish that
Oh,
sentence.
Don't finish that sentence, George.
I double jinxed myself and ended up breaking my shoulder and my foot in the same
Yeah.
time.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, he-
Steve noted what you just said about the CTS. I'm actually signed up to. I don't have my CTS yet. I've been putting it off. About 10 years ago, I pivoted out of the actual realm of where George's department and moved into a more administrative IT, instructional technology role, and I never really circled back to it. So I finally decided once we started this program, this was the year I was going to do it. So I'm signed up to take it in August, and duly noted on the control portion of it.
I believe it when I see it. I've been hearing about this test for a long time now.
I'm signed up, man. It's on the calendar. You know I'm
Typical under 40, I can't sign off on anything kind of attitude.
Listen, I was a straight A
I
student.
represent that saying. I don't have my CTS either.
Okay.
Same boat, just haven't
yeah,
done it.
Yeah.
Well, again, I meant to say this before and I forgot, but the one thing about our course, Steve, is we actually spend, I think, at least 2 entire days of the course on control systems. Not the programming, but the sense of it, the brains of the room, how the brains of the room function, why you need a control system. Forgive me for saying this, but we're a restaurant shop, right? So brains of my room's a restaurant. So, all right, so I can put this tiny little RMC in the ceiling, and I can control up to 30 classrooms. How does that work? So we do emphasize on the control system portion of the room, but you're absolutely right. CTS and other areas, AV is like, oh yeah, here's a TV or here's a projector, and this is how you do it.
We gloss over what the room should do as long as you have all the equipment in it, you know how to wire it. But,
Correct.
Right.
It's still
But
important
how are you
to
going to
know
make it
what
work?
it's
Where are the brains
Exactly
of this?
right. I just wanted to add on, just tagging off of what James said, I would also recommend that you take this class to employers, because somebody like me, I don't really have that many resources to train somebody new to the industry,
Right.
and I'm trying to bring people in because I think we all have that responsibility. So I think what you're doing is very important, not just to current students, but maybe people who are furthering their career.
In that case, Rich, I'm going to jump in here and say, maybe we should talk a little bit about possible internships or co-ops,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we
Or even guest speakers.
or
Yeah.
even speakers. We're open to, again, this is the first page of this notebook for Rich and I, and however we can fill this up, we're open to that idea. So,
Yeah, it sounds like you two are going to be. We're going to be picking your brains. Our 300 level course is going to be very much more on the technical programming side of things, which I
neither
always.
Rich or I should be teaching.
Well, yeah, and I bow out there. I fully admit George is way more technical than me, and I let him handle that stuff. But even that one is getting us a little nervous because we're trying to. We have a 100 level, we have a 200 level. 100 levels, every little bit of everything. Every week's a different topic, which is the point. It's an intro course. 200 levels, a project management, more base course. And then the 300 one gets really technical, or that's the goal. It's going to be really technical. So yeah, we'll see. We're gonna see where it goes. It's in the pipeline to get approved right now, and then we're gonna hopefully run it next spring. So
yeah. Well, that's all the AV talk. Let's have a little bit of fun.
Let's have some fun now. Let's have some fun. The party's still going around here, as you can hear the music in the background.
Yeah. Richard.
Whoa. Heyo.
Flying object.
So first question I'm going to ask you guys is I'm going to steal Rich's question.
Wow.
Not including Rich and myself. Sexiest bald man alive.
James is about to fall out of He's like, really, guys?
I was just listening to one of your shows, so I heard all of the.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know the answer.
All right, well, yeah, that's fair.
I say Frank over there. He is definitely, but
That's a good-looking man right there.
All right.
That whole saying reminded me of something that happened years ago. I'll tell you off air.
All right, fair. Sounds like Steve has the right answer,
Steve has
though.
the right answer.
Bruce Willis.
Ah,
Bruce Willis.
Steve did his
Ding, ding,
research.
ding, ding,
Ding. Oh, my goodness. So this one's going to be tough. We've gone, I think you guys are our fourth or fifth recording. What technology gadget, personal life, professional life, whatever. It could be any, or not even, I don't even want to leave it a gadget. What technology would you not be able to live without? However, iPhone was already taken by one of our previous guests. Tablet, laptop, headphones, Keurig. Britt dropped us with a really good one. Her VHS player, because she's a VHS junkie still, which is pretty cool. And then what did Craig have? Oh, lawnmower. Craig said his lawnmower. So we're
And a Keurig. Did you say Keurig?
Yeah, Keurig, because coffee. So, we're a little flexible with what we mean by technology, but some sort of gadget / technology. But you can't pick any of those because those are taken.
I would say Kindle / iPad. Because I'm doing a lot of reading lately.
We'll give you the Kindle. That's
Kindle.
fair. That's fair. What about you, Steve?
TV?
Oh wow! How
is nobody come up with
picked
TV?
That has to be, besides the iPhone or smartphone. That has to be the most obvious one, and nobody said it.
My God!
Wow.
Every time someone has said it, I'm like, how is someone not saying TV?
You know what? That never crossed my mind, and I do watch a lot of TV.
I was waiting for that answer. I'll be completely honest with you. I was waiting for
Wow.
that. That would be my
And
answer.
probably more specifically a DVR.
Fair.
DVD.
Oh yeah. Poof.
I've never had a DVR.
Oh man, you're missing out, man.
Yeah.
I got.
What do you need now with streaming?
Yeah, that's true. I cut the cord and I have YouTube TV and it's a cloud DVR, so everything just sits. I can record weeks and months of everything, and it just is there on Google's cloud. So that works for me. I know it doesn't work for everybody.
I'm just saying,
but
one of my favorite songs is on just now.
Oh, nice. Well, that's a good segue to streaming season. I know we have we have about five minutes left. Yeah, we have about 5 minutes left. I'll let you do streaming season. Good.
So, streaming season. Rich tries to be young and hip. He
Well,
uses all these terms.
I am
He
young
uses
and
all
hip.
these terms. Fleek.
I don't really use them. I just
Drip,
pretend like I
whatever.
do because it bothers George.
So
guys.
he calls it streaming season, like SZN.
Yeah, acronyms.
All we're asking is, what are you watching these days?
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. Our buddy Jimmer would love that.
Bravo. I would love that.
So I've been watching a bunch of different things, some old shows, some new ones. Just got done, wife and I, Saint X.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good show. I want to say it's on
What's it
Paramount.
on?
Paramount.
I think it's on.
Paramount has some gems.
They do.
I'm sorry, what was it called?
Saint X.
Saint X. Okay.
Yeah, basically it's a family who goes to the Caribbean, and the older daughter basically goes missing and ends up dead.
Oh.
And it's the story of how it happened.
Oh.
It's done pretty well. Then I also When I do watch TV, I'll probably watch Blue Bloods or SWAT or SEAL Team, something like that.
Love a good Blue Bloods. Tom Selleck, shout out.
Yep.
Richard from Friends. You guys Friends fans?
I was
Gotta
gonna
ask
say,
that.
honest opinion, Friends.
Okay, Friends. Yeah, we ask
Yeah.
everybody. Okay.
We fall asleep to Friends. There's very few, but there are a handful
Did you
of
say
people
we
that
fall
have-
asleep to it? That's a really.
I fall asleep. I fall asleep to it.
Sorry.
But we have come across one or two people that have said,
Yeah.
Friends is not my cup of tea.
Few and far between, but
It's a weird choice, but whatever.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
each his own. Paramount, I do want to say one of my favorite shows on TV from Paramount has to be Mayor of Kingstown.
yes. Yeah.
It's on my list, just haven't seen it.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that is a
Oh
great. My wife and I could not stop watching that. We just sat like on the couch for like 1 weekend and just went through. I don't know how many seasons there are, but that is a great show.
The thing is, it's not like other shows that you need 1 or 2 episodes to get into it. You're in right
You're
away.
in.
Right away.
There's no hook.
It's a
The hook is
fantastic
immediate.
show.
Yeah.
It's an amazing show.
Awesome.
But seriously, thank you guys so much for joining the show.
How can people get in touch with you?
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting that.
I got you.
Oh, let's see him go first.
For me, it's Steve Greenblatt on social media.
Cool.
ControlConcepts.net is my company. Ask the Programmer, State of Control, and thank you for having us on.
Awesome.
Thank you.
James.
So to add, 'cause I know you guys are freaked out about AI. It's a very old show I used to watch. It's called Person of Interest.
Person of interest. I've heard of it.
Great show.
I've heard of it.
And it's about AI.
Yeah.
You'll love it.
Yeah, you're right. It is
Freaky.
about AI.
But to get a hold of me, like I said, Google me, you'll find me. Anything with HEPMA, Ask the Programmer, comes out weekly
Cool.
on Sunday. Steve and I chant all the time on AV in the AM on
Nice.
Twitter.
Awesome.
A crew member on AV Live. Again, I'm out there, you'll find me.
Cool.
Awesome. Again, this is a short episode for Infocom. We would love to have you guys on the show when season 2 comes around, so we'll definitely be in touch for that. And we definitely want to talk to you more about the programming and getting that included in our curriculum in some way, somehow.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys could be some great resources for
absolutely.
us.
And we're definitely going to reach out to you. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to sign off by saying, as usual, take care. Oh, I thought you were going to join me.
Oh,
What
sorry.
happened?
You want to do it again?
Let's try that again. Take care.
Oh, I thought you were going to start over again. I'm going to sign off by
All right,
saying,
I'm going to sign off by saying,
take care.
Awesome.
That was good.